Hey guys, here's the gear. We are now no longer in austere August, and so I can use whatever I want. And I am going to continue on with the Nacet, like I mentioned in the past weeks. I didn't have time to dig out a razor, so why don't we just keep using the Timeless Open Comb 68 Gap. And I am going to try the Williams Mug Soap with that slurry lather method that I discovered during August. And this is the brush I used during August, so why don't we keep that the same too, just to kind of minimize different variables, and I think we'll get better results, more predictable results. 475 is the count for today's shave, today's number of uses on the Nacet. I shouldn't need my lather bowl. I may use it just to hold my brush. And this, this brush is pretty much as big as this, cup. The balloon easily gets bigger than this cup. And so I think I'll be using a kind of loading where I kind of pivot the brush in and around in almost like a grinding kind of way, instead of what I'm able to do with a normal soap tub. And that's probably what guys have had to do, because most of the shaving mugs that you see from years past were kind of smallish, normal coffee sized mugs. And so I'm sure that they used some kind of method like that, even twisting perhaps, but probably more along the lines of a swivel type motion. So we'll do that. Let me load the razor up first. Identifying marks for the Nacet. Get my face wet, and then we'll load up. Just in case you don't know what the slurry lather method is that I spoke of, I don't get as many viewers during austere August because not as many people like to see the same stuff used all the time, right? And that's okay. I totally expect that. That's fine. But what the slurry lather method is I pull the brush out of the water and I kind of shake off my usual amount of water. Sometimes I'll leave a little bit more in there. Normally I might continue shaking this off, but actually this time let's do my normal amount that I shake off, which is most of it. I consider the brush now lightly wet. I could squeeze it and get more water out, but I actually want that water. This puck has been used not for shaving recently, but just doing test lathers and working some uses into test lather type uses into this boar brush from Yaki. And so it does have a little bit of moisture in play, and that's good because it'll help the soap to pick up off the soap into the brush. How long should we load? Let's do maybe 10 seconds or something like that, because I don't know this soap. And I think that's 10. Well, that got a lot of soap. I think I got less soap before when I was doing this lather, the slurry method. I call it slurry because basically this first pass, and especially, and what we have in the brush, we're not actually going to take the water and the soap and try to mix it into a complete lather, a mature lather where it's homogeneous. And when I think of a slurry, it's something where something is amongst a bunch of water, very hydrated type solution. It's not really a solution. And I'll probably have some water dump out here on my shirt, that sort of thing. But the point is we're starting with a lot of water, a little bit of soap, and then we're going to basically face lather from there. Face lathers usually start out with a lot more soap than water and gradually add water as they go. This is kind of the reverse. What I discovered with Chiseled Face soap base last month was that I got a lather that was much slicker than any mature lather I've ever developed, either through normal face lathering or through the bowl. This slurry lather method gave me something that felt top tier on my face in terms of pure performing slickness. So let's see what happens. It usually starts off kind of transparent. This one's coloring up a little sooner, probably because I loaded up more water. Now Williams, this is the modern version of Williams. I think 2005 might be when they put this formula together. I can't remember. But it's not the vintage that has more tallow. This is one that has less tallow. And this method, as some of you commenters have said, may actually be the one that actually resembles what guys have done for decades with this puck type of soap. The artisan crops that we have right now, haven't been around for long. And so look right here. It's not a mature lather. It's still very wet, and it's dripping even. And so let's see what kind of slickness we get here. The trouble is, it makes my shaves almost too quick because I don't get as much brush time on my face. I probably spent more brush time on my face this time than I did when I did the slurry lather the first time. And so you don't even have to spend that long on it because you're not, after all, trying to homogenize the soap and water mixture. You're not trying to get them to be together, to merge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to feel my face after this and see what kind of slickness we're talking about. Now, I've had lathers from this formulation of Williams that were amazingly slick, just top tier, which is surprising for $1 soap, right? So let's see, what do we have? Yeah, that's slick. It's not super moisturized. It is a little bit dry. I want to get a little water on my face. It felt good during the actual shave. So I think it's one of those that was hydrated at the time. And so now we can go back here with this again. And if it does start to not feel super hydrated, then dribble some water on there. And so apparently this method is the one, if I'm going to use chiseled face soaps, that soap base in particular, and I want the ultimate in performance slickness, not talking about face moisturizing kind of slickness or some kind of slick, some kind of slow, waxy kind of slickness. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that just kind of grease lightning. Let the razor protect your skin because of just pure, fast lubrication. Not an oily kind of slickness. And Williams is a funny thing, as I get a little bit more water here, because if you work for a long time, you can get this uber level of slickness from Williams. It will be hydrated and creamy. I haven't figured out a way to shortcut that. I can get a reasonable lather from Williams pretty quickly using my normal method. But that primo top-notch lather is one that comes after a while of mixing, and it's one of those where I just kind of keep working it. I don't know quite what works successfully to make it come together in just that perfect way, that creamy, well hydrated but luxurious feeling kind of lather. And this slickness is terrific. So if you want to put together yourself a slurry lather with Williams, it looks like that's a great way to go. And it's not dissipating. That's one of the things that people complain about with Williams, and I think it's just user error. I don't think you can treat Williams like some other soaps, and I think that's what people do. And there we go. That's 3 passes. That my face hasn't dried out between passes. It's it doesn't feel sticky or pasty at all, and you wouldn't guess because there's a lot of water involved. But it's true. And let's do one more. I bet I didn't load for quite as much as I should have. After all, I was able to load for only 10 swirls, 8 swirls, because I had been using, go back to the puck just for a couple seconds there, because I had been using that puck of Midnight Stag, all month. Added a little bit more water. One thing I like about this method is that you don't have to remix the whole lather. Let's say you do the traditional face lathering method, and you get to the 3rd pass, and like many people who do that, you have a skimpy lather. One of the things I like about bowl lathering is your 3rd pass and 4th pass is just as nourishing and awesome as your first one. But if with the normal face lathering method, if you get here, then you have to then reload your soap a little bit more soap onto your brush and just kind of work it for a bit to get that lather back, right? Well, this one comes together so quickly because you're not trying to actually bring anything together. You're just trying to put something slick on your face. And somehow the soap and the water kind of just mix and work. They're kind of sitting on top of each other, or maybe some kind of layering, I don't know. But they're together, but they're not totally mixed up. And that is a pretty comfy shave. No, it doesn't feel luxurious because we don't have a luxurious lather going on. I'll tell you, it's a pretty successful test. I'll probably need to test it more with maybe more load time or something like that, more water in the brush perhaps, just to see. But hey, it works well, and that's 4 passes in 13 minutes, and that's with me talking part of the time. And so if I think that's a great way to go. If you've got Williams or probably a bunch of other hard soaps, just use that slurry lather method if you need to be quick. And during the rinse just now, my face felt great. I could feel the slickness as I put water on there. It wasn't too much. I knew that I hadn't just caked soap on my face. And of course, we were guessing that I wouldn't do that, right? Because of the amount I loaded. But that wasn't there. And so just, it feels very healthy for my skin to use that method. We've got a nice close shave. And so the Nacet clocks up another use, 475, 25 more until 500. How about that? I did go back and load for a couple more seconds. So I think we're looking at maybe a 12-second load in total. What does this have in it? Oh, see. I bet if I would have grabbed that, I wouldn't have needed to go back and use and load anymore, right? I always forget about that. One of you guys reminded me about that, squeezing the brush out at the end and getting all that lather. And I think the reason I often don't do that is because sometimes I don't know if I'm going to do another pass or not. So there's that. We'll give this brush now a good rinsing and cleaning out. Here's what the brush looks like after a good towel stropping. I don't guess during the month it changed too much, but maybe it has. Maybe I need to go back and look at that August 1st shave and see if it's changed too much. Boy, it has changed in feeling from the 1st of August. The density here is increasing because the bristles may still be pretty much staying the same, but the tips are splitting more. So that means I'm getting more tip density as the uses go on. And the backbone is continuing to stay medium or slightly above medium. And for this length of bristle, that just seems to be perfect. Looking forward to continuing to watch this guy mature. I can't remember his count. I went and looked because my curiosity didn't hold me back. I mean, it forced me not to hold back. And I looked in my data and it looks like this was shave number 97, I think, for this brush. And throughout his life, he has had some periodic really long soaks. He's also had, I think, about 10 different, 10 hair dryer treatments where I blew it dry after the shave, partially dry, and across the top very kind of gently to try to help the splitting to increase, and that did make a big difference. And so I think a 97 or 100 use Semogue Owners Club, if you just used it only, I'm guessing it wouldn't be quite this soft at this point. And so because of all the soakings that I've done and the hairdryer treatments, I think it's moving on probably a little quicker than it might have otherwise. And I'm glad, because I'm glad to be moving more quickly into this great place where this brush is so nice. It's a funny thing because my gear, and I'm going to put on this City Slicker aftershave, my gear is hidden away. It's scattered around in boxes and totes because I moved into this rental room a while back, a month ago actually, and at the time I was focused on, I was easing into the austere August routine. And so the only shave gear I've needed has been this timeless razor, the Midnight Stag, soap and splash and cologne. And I've used the same bowl, and I've used the same razor all month long. And so now here I am. I went to go pick out some more stuff, and then for today, then I realized, wait a minute, I don't exactly have access to everything. It's all kind of hidden away. I'll have to find some new stuff to play with. I know that I'm going to try to find my Mitchell's Wool Fat and do a couple of lathers with it, especially this slurry type of lather. And I am going to do some fine accoutrements, hard soaps, the classic pucks that they have. I want to run through some of those. I have been eyeballing my Saponificio Veracino hard soaps as well. And so I think they might be coming too in the upcoming days and shaves and weeks. So there we go. Dribbled water as needed onto the brush, in kind of face lathering fashion. It's a nice comfy shave, very happy with the result. And in terms of a fast shave, if I had to face lather, I think this is what I would do. The only downside is you don't get to experience that brush as much on your face. And so if you do choose to go ahead and build up that lather, start with something pasty and build it up, then you do get more brush action on your face. And so if you have a brush where you like that and that's important to you, then maybe this slurry lather method is not for you. But in terms of speed, in terms of the performance and the slickness, I think this one excels. The only weakness being just the brush time. You don't get quite as much enjoyment there from the brush. But I think a lot of guys, if speed is their main priority, then they already aren't spending as much time with their brush. All right. Well, there we go. Let's put another Sharpie dot to make 475, and I think that'll be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm enjoying the City Slicker. That's really nice. And I might do this slurry lather method again tomorrow. Now that we've put a little moisture here on the soap, I've got a lid here on top of it, very loosely though, to maybe lock in some of that moisture, keep it from all evaporating. And we'll try kind of maybe the same thing tomorrow just to see. But I think I'd like this slurry lather method. If I had to face lather, it might be what I chose. Because the normal face lather method that a lot of guys use, where you build it up on your face a lot, by the time it gets hydrated to where I want it, then it's dripping off and I'm losing it and it's frustrating. Whereas with this one, it gradually, slowly builds into kind of what I want. Instead of starting too dry and coming to where I want, this one starts super wet and comes up to where I want. So I think I like that aspect about it too. And there could be different variations for this. Maybe I'll try something else out, but there we go. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys, take care.